So this is going to be the first video on area and perimeter of triangles using the Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to do one video for the front 4 questions here and then one for the back. So we've already done area and perimeter of triangles a bunch of times. So area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, and that formula will be on your test for you. You still don't have to have it memorized. And then perimeter is we're just going to add up all the sides. And remember, base and height, they create a 90-degree angle. So we're looking for that little box right there. So this would be my base and this would be my height. Well, the problem is I don't have my height. So I have to use the Pythagorean theorem to figure that out. So if you remember, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And c is always the hypotenuse. So this side is going to be C, and then the other two can be A or B. So I'll just solve this by saying 8 squared plus h squared equals 17 squared. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And then I'll solve it just like we had been solving it in the last section. So I'm going to square both of these numbers. I'll subtract 64 from both sides. And now to get rid of that square, I need to take the square root of both sides. So h is going to be 15 yards. So that's this side. Now I can find the area and the perimeter. So my area is 1/2 8 times 15. So that's going to be 60. And this is area, so it's square yards. And then for my perimeter, I'm just going to add up all 3 sides. So 8 plus 15 plus 17. So my perimeter is going to be 40 yards. So all of these problems are going to be just like this. We have to find the area and the perimeter, but something's going to be missing. And that missing length, we're always going to use the Pythagorean theorem to find it. So on my next problem, I want to do, again, my area is 1/2 base times height. So here's my little 90-degree angle here. So this is going to be my base. Those together would be 39. And then I need to find my height again. I'm still not sure of what my height is. But I could find the perimeter right now. I have the outside, so I can just add up the 3 sides. 25 plus 40 plus 39. I'm not going to add my height into my perimeter because my perimeter is just my outside edge. So my perimeter here is going to be 104 millimeters. So that I can find without the height. But I do need the height to be able to find the area. So again, I'm going to use a Pythagorean theorem. Now, notice that you have 2 right triangles here. So we can use this on this triangle, so I can look at the 40 as my C, or this triangle, so I can look at 25 as my C. It doesn't matter which one you pick. I'm just going to pick the smaller triangle. So I'll have 7 squared plus 8 squared equals 25 squared. But if you wanted to use the other triangle, you could. So I'll square both numbers. And then I'm going to subtract 49 from both sides. And then to get rid of my square, I have to take the square root of both sides. So h is going to be 24. So my height is 24. And if you had used this triangle and done 32 squared plus h squared equals 40 squared, that's okay. You would have still gotten that h is 24. So either option is fine. So now my last step here is I'm going to find the area. So 1/2 base times height. So my base is 39. And my height is the 24 that we just found. So my area is going to be 468 millimeters squared. Now for my next one, there's a few markings going on here that we have to fill in. So I can see that these two both have 2 markings, so those would both be 5 inches. And these are both 13 inches because they both have 1 marking. So again, in this option, I can again find the perimeter right now. The bottom here becomes 10, so my perimeter is just 10 plus 13 plus 13, that's going to be 36 inches. So I can find that out. Now, again, I have to use Pythagorean theorem to find my height so that I can find the area. And you can use either triangle, they're both exactly the same. They both have 5 and then 13 is your hypotenuse. So 5 squared plus b squared is 13 squared. Again, I'm going to square both numbers, subtract 25 from both sides, and then I have to take the square root of both sides to get that b is 12. So my height here is 12. And then I can plug into my area formula. 1/2, the base is 10, the height is 12. So that's going to be 60 inches squared. Now, the next one here does not have enough information for us. We're missing 2 sides. I'm missing my height, but I'm also missing this, which is part of my base. So when I go to do my area, 1/2 base times height, I need this as well. And for perimeter, I would need it as well. So this time, we're going to have to do the Pythagorean theorem twice, because I need to find 2 different lengths. So the first time, I'll use this little triangle here, and we'll do 8 squared plus h squared is 17 squared. And this will work the same way it has been the whole time. So I'll square both numbers, and then I'll subtract 64 from both sides. And then I'll take the square root of both sides so that h is 15. And they're not always going to be whole numbers. All of the examples here so far were whole numbers, but you might get a decimal, and that's okay. We're just going to round to 1 decimal place. But now I need to do this again to find this side. And I'm just going to label it A, because this would be my C. And then I have 15, so now I need to do this whole process again. So that I can figure out what A is. So again, I'm going to square both numbers. I'm going to subtract 225 from both sides. And now I'll take the square root of both sides to get that A is 20. Now I can find the area and the perimeter. So my perimeter, I'm just going to add up all the sides. 25 plus 17 plus the bottom here is going to make 28. And I ran out of room a little bit, but 28. So my perimeter is going to be 70. And there's no units here, so it's just 70. And then for my area now, 1/2, my base is 28, and my height is 15. And that's going to give me 210. And again, there's no units, so you don't have to write anything. So sometimes you might have to do the Pythagorean theorem twice. I don't think there's any examples where you have to do it 3 times. Twice is the most. But there are always going to be right triangles in there. Just look for the little box to show you where the right angle is, and then you can use her Pythagorean theorem and then find the area. If you have any questions on this, feel free to watch the video again. There's plenty of practice in the crate, and I'll make another video for the 2 figures on the back.